Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FloTrack Podcast, Paris edition, presented by Wonderful Pistachios. I'm Livek Pone, joined with Corey Mall in studio after another dramatic day. Today is August 7th. And you guys, we are super excited to have our special guest tapping into all the drama with us, the one, the only, Natasha Hastings, also known as the 400-meter diva, two-time Olympic gold medalist, and she's representing the Gamecocks today. But Tasha, thank you so much for joining us today. The drama continues. There was so much going on, but of course, let's start off by the most recent performance, which was the 3,000-meter steeplechase with the men. And literally the very first thing I have down in my notes today is just wow, with a gazillion exclamation points, full of drama, 3 exclamation points. Corey Mall, we were watching this together in office. The last 3 laps got insane, but from your perspective, like, what was going on today in this final, the last event on the track?
I think larger than that is how the U.S. team is surprising me in distance races. I don't think anybody expected Kenneth Rooks to get a medal today in the 3K steeplechase. Maybe Kenneth Rooks did. Maybe Evan Jager did. But I certainly didn't. I don't know if you did, but I think him taking the lead with 400 meters to go, making a bold move like that in an Olympic final in the biggest venue he's ever raced at. He just came on the scene last year. This man has a certain component to him that allowed him to make that move. And I just think Rooks is the story for me. I know Bakali won his second straight Olympic title after not really racing at all this year, and that's a story of itself. But, you know, we're a U.S.-based media outlet, and Kenneth Rooks, 24 years old, Provo, Utah resident. The man won a silver medal, noting the second time since 2016 when Evan Jager did it. So Kenneth Rooks, to me, is the story here.
When you and I were watching this, with 1 lap to go, he just makes this bold move. We were both looking at each other like, there's no way. Like, there's no possible way Kenny Rooks is holding this off. Because all of a sudden, you just see Lamatra Gurma, who was making a huge push, and with 200 meters to go, hits the track as he does not clear the barrier, does not finish. And I hope, honestly, I really hope he's okay, because I think
that pulled off the stretcher. Honestly, that looked like it hurt. He landed on his back on the track. He's going full speed over the barrier.
I hope he did not break anything, because that was full speed going over. But Rooks was holding on, and I'm just mind blown. Like, his previous best was an 8:15.08, drops to an 8:06.41, and he became the 7th American to win a medal in the 3,000-meter steeplechase and the 3rd American to win silver and the 2nd American since 1988 to medal.
Yeah, I mean, in modern times, though, since 2000, we haven't been in the equation at all.
Right.
We haven't been in the 3K steeplechase conversation at all. So this is a huge jump for Kenneth Rooks, who's coached by Ed Eyestone, who coached him at BYU. And largely out of Utah, I think there's a lot of things happening in terms of training in that area that might become the next hotbed, I would think. But, you know, for me, Kenneth Rooks trying to make a move on this field when they weren't necessarily willing to go. I think that was the statement made. We've seen it a couple times, but in this instance, you got to have courage.
Yeah.
And Kenneth Rooks showed courage last year at the U.S. Olympic trials when he fell during a championship race, got up, still won the race. This guy has courage, and he continues to show it. I think in terms of emergence, we have to start looking at Kenneth Rooks as possibly, you know, a guy who's going to blossom from this point forward, because this is a great performance to build on.
Yeah. Natasha, I want to put you into this conversation, the 400-meter diva. How would you rate that last 400 meters? Because it was just insane.
It was insane. It was gutsy. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And I have to do that because it's not only just the last 400, but obviously the steeplechase has barriers too, right? And so I'm watching it, and I'm watching him go over the last one, because you can see Rooks kind of like getting to the point, like, did I make the right move here? Like, don't eat it over that last barrier with the water, having seen the other guy go down, right? But I mean, talk about drama, talk about, it was a strategic race. We saw the other countries throughout where they're like, you know, helping each other out, boxing each other out. That's what we typically see in distance runs, right? But yeah, he went for it, and he's coming home with that silver at 24.
At 24.
That's really young for a distance runner to come home with a medal.
And we talked about just the elevation of distance running with the Americans. We're seeing Grant Fisher. We're seeing Kenny Rooks. Like, we're starting to see this turn of events, which I'm excited for. And I want to break down, shout out to our stats team for figuring out all of this placement. But between from the first 400 all the way through the 1600, Kenny Rooks was like 13th, 15th. Like, he was not really in that mix.
Yeah.
And then slowly started moving up. 2,800 meters in, was winning, comes across the line, second place.
He didn't have to be.
Yeah.
Leo Manzano talked about this a couple days back. Races seesaw
Yes.
in Olympic championships, and he understood that, and he just kept contact with the group. He didn't let them get away. He did that in his prelim too. Very same thing happened. It was this one was a faster pace than his prelim, but it was slow. He kept contact, and when he needed to make the move, he made the move. He's just very intelligent in terms of what he needs to do and understands that.
And then, as Corey mentioned as well, the defending champ, Soufiane Al-Kabali, defends that title with an 8:06.05 for new season's best. You also talked about how he hasn't raced much. I think this was his second competition of the year, and you come away with a gold. So that's also quite impressive to think about. And then Abraham Kibuwat was third, 8:06.47. So very, very close between all of those three gentlemen. I think I'm still shaking from watching that race because it was just wild.
What was the bigger race for you, 3K steeplechase or 400 meter?
I think Tasha might agree with me just because we're both sprinters. I think that 400, because it was, my eyes were just all over the place watching all of these competitors. But of course, the 3,000 meter steeplechase was just,
it was fun.
It was fun.
But man, Quincy Hall.
Let's dive into this 400. I want all of Tasha. Tasha is going to, I'm leaning in on Tasha for this whole entire segment.
Let's go.
Tasha, men's 400. I want to ask you this first. Based off what you saw in the semifinals, did you predict this outcome today? Or who were your top podium picks going into today?
So my prediction was Hall. Hall looked the easiest to me through the rounds. Not only easy, but confident. Like, he just knew that he's ready to go. Hudson Smith was my silver pick. I actually had Kirani getting on the podium after the semi. Coming into the games, I was like, Kirani, he's been here, done that. He knows how to get to a final, but I don't know if he's ready. But after that semi, I was like, you know what? He might get on the podium. Norman was one that I was counting on, that I was kind of like, he hasn't been able to put his pattern together. We saw him go out crazy at U.S. Nationals, and he paid for it at the end. And then yesterday in the semi, he slept for the first 200, right? So I was like, Norman, if he can put the right race together, he can get in there and get on the podium. But I had the first two right. I knew Quincy was going to bring it home. He gave me a heart attack coming off that final turn. But we've seen him also do this finish before. Last year in Budapest, what did he win, the silver or the bronze? But he had to make a run back at the end. So we know that he has that finish. And I want to point something out here, because in the 400, in any race, nobody's getting faster at that point, right? Everyone is decelerating. It's who's decelerating at the slowest rate. So the way that he did that in the last 30, 20 meters, insane. Drama.
Full of drama.
The Gamecock came home with the gold, and I called it.
Speaking of closing, we have the splits between Hall and Hudson Smith.
Let's hear
the
it.
First 100, 11:01. Hudson Smith was 10:81. Second 100, 9:99 for Hall, 9:81 for Hudson Smith. 10:81 for the third 100, 10:73 for Hudson Smith. 11:59 for Hall, 12:09 for Hudson Smith.
I had 11:12 for the last 100 meters for Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm just going off of, I think, the Olympic website or whatever I saw, but
yeah, I have a different.
we might have to fact check. But nonetheless, Tasha, you have been in this situation before. You made an Olympic final in the open 400. Can you just talk to us about how you approach the final? I know it's just like you're literally leaving it out on the track, but when you're in these kinds of heavy situations, like we were talking about it with our interns today, like the cameras are literally in your face all over the track. I'm not even talking about like the broadcast ones and the ones that are in the, strung up, like the handhelds are in your face. You're trying to look presentable, but you're also being focused. Like, what are some of those things that these gentlemen went through this evening?
I think we hear it, and we've been hearing it a lot, the psychological warfare that you have to be prepared for before you even get there, right? Because yes, the cameras, the expectation, it's all there. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Like, you just got to be there to show up and do your thing. There's a piece of me that hates that you asked this question because I don't remember. I don't remember my 400 final, but I say that because for me, it was tapping into something we call our flow state, that where you've done everything up to that point, right? So when the gun goes off, you're literally just running for your life, if you will, but you're executing your race plan. So I actually had a question, because if you look at Hall's race, you're talking about the splits. Jareem Richardson out in lane 9 went out really fast.
Yes.
But Quincy did not go with him. And it takes a lot of patience, maturity, and trust in your race plan to not go after the person that's like, you start to question yourself, like, am I running too slow? Am I running too fast? Or, you have to really be sure about your race plan. And he did a really good job. Again, gave us a heart attack at the end, but keeping his composure and sticking to what he knows he has in the tank for himself, right? So, having the ability to dial into what it is that you're there to do and like channel out all the noise, it takes a lot of focus, a lot of preparation. You can't figure that out when you get there. You've got to do the work before you get there.
He literally muscled his way through. Like the last 120, I was in a state of like, what am I seeing? Because Corey, yesterday for the podcast, you called Hudson Smith. You were like, I think he's going to win it. I picked Hall. And I'm like, come on, Hall. Like, I want to be able to be like, I picked the winner for this race. But he literally, everyone's saying the dog came out in him. And that sure was pure grit, determined. I can only imagine the lactic acid buildup that he was experiencing coming home in that 400. It was just wild.
He didn't have much of it. And the fact check, you actually are right, 11.59 on the last 100. From 250 to 350, he went 11.12. So Quincy Hall, I think the fun thing too is, once he finished, he got down on the ground, he started doing a little bit of the snow angels, just basking in his greatness. You don't often close a 400 like that with, seemingly out of the picture. He was fifth at one point with maybe 60 meters to go, and he literally climbed his way back in the picture. I think when you look at his time, now he's only behind Michael Johnson and Butch Reynolds, so third best in American history. He jumps ahead of Jeremy Warner, who was a dog himself at the 400 meters, 43-45, and he was an Olympic champion as well. So Quincy Hall, I think, enters into elite company in U.S. American history with a performance like this. And just the way he did it, I think, is what's going to be the most memorable.
Tasha? Go ahead.
If I could just piggyback onto that, because he's cemented himself into the all-time list, right? But I think we got to give a shout out to Hudson Smith. He set a national record, which is also a PB. Third place, I don't remember the gentleman's name from Africa, but that was a national record for himself. I mean, we're just seeing fast times, competitions, right? I'm tired of people saying track isn't fun. Like, come on. But I just really want to give a shout out. Jareem, the fourth place finisher, you set a national record and you're not on the podium.
Yeah.
Yes.
And ran 43 seconds. So I just want to give a shout out to all the fellas in the final that, they came out there and they put on a show for us.
Yes. Matthew Hudson Smith, 43-44. As Tasha mentioned, Zambia's Muzala Zumukanga, 43-74. And then Chris Bailey also finishing sixth, 44-58. Natasha, our chat is literally blowing up about this 4x4. So, of course, we cannot continue. I'm sorry. We got to dive into it. I'm about to put you on the spot. You should have already been prepared for this conversation. So let's rewind, because two-time Olympic gold medalist in the 4x4. Can you just talk to us about what does it take to be considered for the prelim first round of this 4x4, but also what goes into it to make it in the final of this 4x4 for Team USA?
A number of things. How much time do we have? First of all, your finishes at the U.S. trials, right? That's always going to be like on the list. It's your way to qualify for the team, right? So that's one of the first things that they go to. The next thing is fitness. The next thing after that, probably before fitness, is experience. We are known, Team USA is known to, if there's anything that's close, if there's a question in terms of fitness, closeness in PBs, we're going to lean on our experience. Listen, being at the Olympics, being at the World Championships, we just talked about it with the 400, running in front of this crowd, running with this pressure, this expectation. USA is there to win gold. Anything less than gold, it's a disappointment, right? So all of those things will go into play in making that decision.
What is the likelihood?
So you're gonna ask me the question that I know you really want.
I think you should ask two questions. I know your first question, but
what's my first question?
The first question is, what will it take for Quincy Wilson to get on the 4x4 prelim?
That was my first question. Yes.
Second question is, what will it take to get Noah Lyles on this 4x4 final?
First question. I'm going to say Quincy has a few things on his side that I think he has a shot of getting on the track. That being still running very well late in the season. We're always cautious about NCAA or high school kids coming in August, right, and still running fast. He ran fast right before he went to the Village. So his fitness is there. And I think what's also on his side, I got to call a spade, how our men finished in the 400, right? Hall obviously is the gold medalist. Bailey placed sixth, was it? And then Norman was eighth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vernon didn't make the finals. All of those things are going to be considered when it comes down to who are they going to put on the track. So I think he has those things on his side for the coach to make the decision to say, hey, we're going to take the chance and put him out there for the preliminary rounds. Honestly speaking, him running the final, he's going to have to go out there and run something amazingly crazy for the coaches to say, we can't take him off, which even that I feel like is a gamble. Because look at the mixed relay, right? They went out and ran the world record and couldn't come back the next day and do it again. Repeating the 400 day after day, it's just difficult. It is. Second question.
Which one's the hard?
I see Tasha's laughing. She's like, I wish you never asked that question.
Which one is the harder question? Is my follow-up to that? Yeah.
Actually, the Wilson question is harder. Both athletes obviously have amazing fans, amazing support, and everybody, at the end of the day, whoever you go for, you want to see your person on the track, right? I'm here to answer the question without emotion. And honestly, from Team USA, we're in the Village looking at the medal count, right? The end goal is to get the medals and to get that gold medal. So with that, what I'm going to say is my honest opinion. Again, what's on Noah's side is the men's finishes between making the finals or how they finished in the final. But I don't see Noah on the 4x4. And I feel like for Noah to be on the 4x4 at some point, he needs to go through what Allison did. Meaning, Allison Felix started out as a 2-1 runner, right? So She was on the 4x1. She was running her 200. If she made the 100, she was in the 100 as well. In order for Allison to come on the women's 4x4, she had to run 400s throughout the season to do what? Show fitness and show that she can complete a 400 and a fast 400 leg, right? Like, yes, Noah is undoubtedly fast. He's the fastest man in the world. But the 400 is a lot different from the 100. And I think those coaches want to see that he can make it around the track for 400 meters. And we're not just going to put him on the track because it's hype. So I personally don't see him getting on the team this year. Does that mean that he won't in the future? Does that mean it's not an option? I'm not saying that. However, to this point, what do we have to say that Noah can go out there and give us a 43 split?
What don't we have to say that he can't do a 43 split? Sometimes you just
gotta ask the question.
Well, no, sometimes this is a little bit too like existential, but like belief.
Yes.
If you win 3 medals, gold medals, Noah Lyles, sometimes you just have to believe that you give the guy a shot and he will bring it home. Sometimes it's faith. Sometimes it's just sort of giving the stick to the guy who's done it. But I understand you're speaking about all these things that are rooted in truth and facts and knowledge and coaching, which makes perfect sense. Sometimes, though, I'm thinking sometimes coaching makes no sense at all. And maybe that's the move.
I just don't even know what Team USA is even thinking, because I feel like the argument that Noah's going to say is, well, I was part of the World Indoor Championship, runner-up team.
Yeah.
He was on that 4x4. You know what?
What's up, Tasha?
Noah's on the 4x4.
Wow. Really? Did you just come around to this in
That's
a second?
what I feel like the argument's going to be. I ran on the world.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I feel like the chat's
right.
about to blow up.
We
it's just like,
we talked into it. Okay.
We did. Okay, Coach Hastings. My final really tough question around this
don't
subject.
Put that on me.
Coach Hastings. Right now, let's just say you're in full control of picking the 4x4 first round. Who would you have on that team?
Give me a second. Let me pull up a conversation that I was in earlier where we're talking about this.
Oh, man.
First round, I'm going to say Norwood to Deadman.
I feel like you're analyzing your list now after our nice
Norwood to Deadman to Bailey. The two that I want to bring on for the final.
You can only make one sub, right?
Yeah, that's the thing too. You can only make one sub.
Oh, there's only one sub now?
Oh, Tasha, there's the rule. Yes, you can only sub out one person.
I thought that was only for the mixed relay.
I don't know. I know mixed relay was one. I'm assuming 4x4 would probably be the same.
You guys are probably right. So if there's only one sub, y'all stay with me.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm about to lose it. Go ahead.
You're not. If there's only one sub, I'm going to go Norwood, Deadman, Bailey, Benjamin.
Yep.
First round?
Sorry?
First round?
First round. Because if there's only one sub, final, I'm going to take Bailey off and put Hall on there.
Yep.
If I only get one sub.
I think that's the team.
I did not hear Wilson in the conversation.
I know, but
I'm so sad. So sad. But yeah, it's tough. This one sub thing really throwing me off. But again, I also don't know if it's...
I would leave the door open for... I'm just leaving the door open for Lyles. I like that team. I think that will be the team. But in a world where Lyles gets on the 4x4, I think it's Hall, Benjamin, maybe Norwood, and Lyles.
Okay, let's just say there's two subs.
Yeah.
I see. I'm looking at my chat right now. Let's just say there's two subs. Who would you have now?
If there's two subs, I'm definitely putting Ryan Hall, Benjamin and Hall in that final. They're coming on for the final. So then if I can get the 2 subs, then Wilson gets a shot. But then it's the toss up again. If we're gonna put Noah on there, right? Does Noah run the prelim, and then we decide if we want to put him on the final? So
There's just so much possibility, which makes it hard. Like, I'm happy we have options. Team USA, like, we could be, another
blessing and
country
our
that
curse.
doesn't have options to pick from. It just makes it more challenging for me.
It does.
Because there's a lot of dogs that I want on this relay.
It does.
It's a 4x4 for a reason. Well, Tasha, we'll see if your lineup is correct. We'll just cross our fingers. I just want Wilson on one. I really thought Wilson was going to be on this mixed 4x4 in like first round of the men's 4x4. So now I'm like, just put him on the at least first round for me. Then I'll be happy. Then we'll have a happy live. But Tasha, thank you so much for breaking all of that down. Really appreciate that so much. Okay, let's move on and talk about the women's pole vault, because this was a very long competition. 20 women in 3 hours and 22 minutes. Insane, because there was a lot of vaulting that had to happen, but it finally got narrowed down to 5 competitors once they hit 4.85 meters. And just like Worlds, it was between Nina Kennedy and Katie Moon, but it was Nina Kennedy that takes the gold with a new season's best of 490. Katie Moon equaled her season's best with a 485, and then Canada Alasia Newman was third with a new national record of 485 as well. So great competition. It was very long. Like, Campbell and I were just watching it together, and it was just like vault after vault after vault.
Yeah.
You're just trying to go through all the women.
That's nothing new. I mean, I think
Yeah.
pole vaulters have been down these roads before,
Yeah.
so they were ready for it. I think it was a really incredible moment for Australia to get their first gold medal in the pole vault from Kennedy. Pole vault on the women's side added to the Olympic calendar in 2000, so it hasn't been going on that long over the Olympic history. So, bumping your name into that pantheon is perfect for Kennedy, and they were super elated
Yes.
to find out. You kind of had to wait to see what was happening with Katie Moon, because she had some strategy after she missed at 4.90. She bumped up her bar to 4.95. But once that was solidified, you got history. You got Australia winning their first gold medal.
Yeah, which is incredible. Tasha, any thoughts on the women's pole vault, especially with Katie Moon grabbing that silver?
I mean, I'm obviously pulling for Team USA, so anytime we can get on the podium, I was just more curious. 3 hours being out there, 20 finalists. Like, I heard them talking about, like, do we alter the standard, or, a lot of women, they jumped the height to qualify. So that was interesting, I think, in any event, to see that many finalists outside of like a distance race, obviously. But yeah, 3 hours is a long time to be out there competing in front of this crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Men's discus, we saw the Olympic record go down twice from 2 different athletes, but it was Jamaica's Rostona and Mykola Alekna, who were the 2 athletes that have broken that Olympic record. For the world record holder, Mikolas improved that record in the second round, which was actually set by his father, was 69.97. And then in the fourth round, Stona had the monster's throw of 70 meters to win the gold and break that Olympic record. And we did some digging. Ryan Krauser was able to celebrate a little bit because he actually coaches Stona, which I think is fantastic to hear about.
Yeah, I'd love to know that story in the mix zone. How did Ryan Krauser come to coach Roa Stona? But very good stuff there. Alekna was the guy many expected to win this title. He had been on fire the whole year. He had 4 throws over 70 meters, including that world record mark of 74.35 on the season. So I think I'm curious whether he would view this as a disappointment. I mean, he gets a medal.
Yes.
He finishes second. That is really, really good in any other standard or any other case. But he had high aspirations. Getting that Olympic title was one of them. And, it's got to be a little bittersweet to walk away not getting that.
I know I feel like it's bittersweet because you're like, I got an Olympic medal. Not many people can say they earned an Olympic medal, but when you go in as the world record holder and you already set that bar as like the best individual in this event ever in history, I feel like there might be some mixed emotion around all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tasha, what do you think about that?
I 1000% agree. I think as athletes, we're all out there going after, like I used to say, if you're not here to win, you don't belong here. And I think back to 2013 and 2015 when Team USA, we got silver. And in 2015, we had to correct ourselves because in 2013, a lot of comments were made about how our faces were like screwed up because we weren't on the top of the podium. Like, yeah, we're on the podium, but we're here to win. So, yeah, it's bittersweet, especially if you're coming in with the world record. Like, you wouldn't want to go home with anything but the gold.
I agree. So, again, bittersweet, but proud of him though.
Yeah.
Olympic silver.
Yeah. Shout out to Stona.
Shout out to
Gold
Stona.
medal for Jamaica in the discus.
Yes.
They've struggled in the sprints.
They have.
And
Tasha and I were just talking about that
too. Yes, Jamaica has struggled in the sprints. I mean, listen, they've struggled, but it also seems that their field events are picking up the slack for them because they're having a lot of first-time medals in the field events, which I think is pretty major. And I absolutely love the story that Ryan Krauser is his coach. It just seems like this event was like the event of the stories, if you will. So yeah.
Yes. All right, let's move on to Tasha's event. The women's 400-meter semis went off today. Of course, I'm kind of surprised by our finalists here, but also not. Sawa and Nasser looked, in my opinion, probably one of the strongest in the field. Comes in with the fastest time into the finals with a 49.08. Paulino, 49.21. Amber Anning, I was so proud of her, especially after a very long season at Arkansas. Sets a new personal best with a 49.47. Natalia Kazmarek, 49.45. Seda Williams, 49.89. Rashida Adeleke, 49.95. The only American in this final is Alexis Holmes, 50 even. And then Henriette Jaeger, 50.17. I was rooting for Nikisha Price. I was like, I had her... Tasha, I had her as winning this. She was looking really strong, and based off the results here, the Jamaican 14th overall, 50.77. Natasha, just what are your thoughts about this field, and how do you see this shaking out as we approach the final?
Yeah, obviously, as a relay queen, my thoughts go to our relay. But also looking at the spread of things, yes, we have the 400 hurdles that we can go to for ourselves and other countries, but we see that no country has multiple finalists in this event, right? Salwa was a shock to me. She is the 2019 world champion, excuse me. She hadn't really been looking like herself this year. She's obviously rounded into shape just at the right time. Adeleke, I was expecting to perform a little bit better than that. She's been looking stronger throughout the season. She had a really good run in Monaco, so I was expecting her to be in pretty good contention. Paulino, I feel like she's got a really good shot at, getting... I had her as my pick, but Salwa is she looks really fit, and I have to mention Nikisha Price because I was really shocked by that to see her not make it into the final because she looked really strong through that first round. And gosh, there was another race where London, where it's like,
yes, London.
Yeah, you went through this long NCAA season, but actually you're still going. And Anning to come through with a PB, like they're in the same system. They're both at Arkansas, right? So I am a bit surprised to see that Nikisha's not in the final, but Anning, I mean, it's tough to run a PB in the semi and then come back tomorrow and run even faster, but never say never. We've seen it done before. So I think she's got a pretty good shot too.
All right, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Yeah, I'm also pretty high on Adeleke. I think, the semifinal, the objective is to get to the final, and the road to the final kind of varies for each person. So she has run 49.07 this season already. In Rome, she did that. I think she's got a strong chance to chase after title at the very least. I do agree with you that Nasser looked really good. Paulino, defending Olympic champion from 21, I think she's obviously up there too. But there's something about Adeleke that kind of just strikes me right now. She's coached by Floreal and just has that it factor. Alexis Holmes, I wanted to get into too. Where do we see Holmes, only American, to get to the final? She did enough to qualify, and this is a tough road to go through the rounds, but she's in a position now to get on the podium. Do you think she does it? And whether that, yeah.
Are you asking me or Tasha?
I'll ask you first, and then we'll push it to Natasha.
I was like, who are you asking first?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was very observant on how these women were looking. First round, I'm like, yeah, we can cruise. But like the semis, I've talked about this. This is where you have to crank it up a little bit more. And how did she look? I feel like I can see Holmes finishing in the top 5. I want her on that podium, but with how Nasser was looking, Paulino, Adeleke, as you mentioned, it's going to be fast. Like I think it's going to take definitely a 48, maybe
No.
high 47s to like grab this victory.
Okay.
And I'm worried. I was like, what is Tasha was about to freak out on me, but I just don't know if Holmes could be there yet. I don't know, just based off what I'm seeing through these rounds.
I don't see it at 47. Do you see it at 47, Natasha?
I don't see 47, but 49 is not getting on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna run 48 top 3, maybe even top 4.
Yes.
But
It's gonna be moving.
49 is not.
And we
getting on
don't
the
think
podium.
Alexis Holmes, who ran her best race at the trials in the final, to elevate.
Now that is a possibility. Yeah, there's some things that I can say about that, but that some people are just gamers and they run big in the finals. But if I'm going off of what I saw today, I'm not sure. But I wasn't sure, honestly speaking, about Alexis. I wasn't sure at the trials. She didn't move through the rounds looking like, strong. And then she came in the finals and pulled it off. So there's that.
Yeah. I can give you my picks. How about that?
That's what. Yes.
You want to go pick? You want to go picks?
Corey Bowles picks.
Wanna go
'Cause right
picks?
now I'm like
Okay.
just shook.
Well, this is probably a risk, but I'm actually going to pick Adeleke to win. I'm going to go Nasser for second, and I'm going to go Holmes for third. Paulino's left out in fourth. And that's a wild pick. Those are wild picks, but that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with.
Tasha's one of those
Amen.
people that will show her whole emotion on her face. There's no hiding it. Tasha?
Leos have very loud faces.
Oh, okay. Yes, Liam's making funny face. Okay, wait. You said Adeleke. I have to write this down.
Adeleke,
Nasser.
Holmes, and then Paulino fourth.
Why do you not have my girl Paulino in top 3? Out of curiosity.
One, because I believe in Alex Holmes. I talked about faith earlier, and I believe that she can get it done in a final. 2, Adeleke has run 49.07 before. I think she can ratchet it up a little bit in the
She's
final.
run 48 before.
Yeah. So I believe in that too. And, Nasser looked really strong in the final. But what you said, Natasha, about going back to back after running a fast semifinal, it is hard to return to the track and basically recover and do the same thing again over again. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay. Tasha?
I want to make one correction. Paulino is not the defending Olympic champ. She's a defending world champ.
Yes.
Miller Weibo won in 21.
Oh.
I'm going with, God, I don't want to do this. because I really felt like Paulino was gonna do it, but Salwa has me nervous. Um, so I'm gonna have to go with Salwa. I'm gonna go with Paulino second. Um, I really want to put Alexis on the podium, but I'm gonna have to go with Adeleke. Alexis fourth.
Okay. I think my third is a toss-up. I agree with Tasha. I think it's going to go Sawa, Paulino. I think it's going to be a photo finish. It might be a lean at the line. It might be like a Shawnee. Was it 2016 when you were in that race when she literally dove across? Yes. I feel like it's going to be one of those moments.
She did
where
not
it's like,
dive. Let's stop telling that story.
Sorry, Tasha. By Shawnee, the way she crossed the finish line, I feel like it's going to be that way.
Okay.
Is that better? Is that better, Tasha? Okay.
Yes.
I think it's going to be one of those where it's going to be a battle to the last 5 meters. Sawa, Paulino. It's like toss up between Adeleke and Kazmarek because I feel Kazmarek is a gamer.
Oh.
All right.
It's gonna be fast. That's all I'm
not
gonna
fair.
say.
You have the final in front of you. Yeah. Kazmarek looked good through the rounds too.
Yes. So we'll just wait and see. I'm pretty sure Tasha and I will be texting and be like, yo, time is crazy. Everything was crazy. All right. Speaking, I feel like the title of the show should just be drama. We talk about the men's 5K this morning.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. Falls happening, people hitting the track. I just hearing that news, seeing it, watching it, just insane. Corey, what do you think about all of it?
So is it 5 men who fell over the first 2 rounds did end up being granted qualifiers into the finals, correct?
I believe so. I think we have there might be a image that we can put up, the Carnage results photo. And Stuart McSween, Dominic Laballo, George Mills, Mike Foppen, Therity, Nudamamo, who even though he did not finish, he like hit the track and they have some small cues by their name. So I think they're allowing them to enter into that 5K final.
Yeah, it was
dramatic.
It was madness.
Yes.
I think, as you watched it play out, it was a leisurely run to most people watching it on TV. It looked like a high school race. And those men left it to the final K over the first 2 sections. And as that happened, basically you were dealing with a field of 20 and trying to navigate the circumstances. And that's, as a result, falls took place. And it's unfortunate. Mohamed of Canada is not one of the cues to make it through. I don't, because he fell earlier than the melee. I think possibly tripped on a rail or something. I don't know, but he didn't get a cue to the next round. So that's unfortunate because he was considered by many to be a strong, runner in that final. But overall, I think you got some really good net positives from the 5K. You have Graham Blanks making it through in the first section. He was 4th at the U.S. trials, and his world ranking got him into the team in the first place. And for him to really race like this today was a huge, impressive moment, and got to give props to him. Grant Fisher also really, after that 10K bronze medal, right? Bronze medal. He came back, recovered, and ran a really good race. Stayed out of the trouble, made sure he got in. Abdi Nur fell. He was one of the guys who fell. But I think the Americans did really, really well. And then Ingebrigtsen, too, coming off the 1,500 meters. He played it really safe. And then he looked totally in control the moment he sort of decided to, make his race what it was.
Yes. Ingebrigtsen, Nordas, Graham Blanks, Edwin Kurgat, Graham Fisher, Osco Chalimo, some of the notable qualifiers. You also have Hagos Gerberet, who's number 1 in the world. You also have Edusu Yaname, who's number 5. Our guy Louis Gravala breaks my heart. 6th in the world right now, does not advance. It was just a very wild 5K.
Yeah.
I think Tasha can agree with us that it was just insane. Absolutely insane.
Insane.
The first.
No.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna try to say repechage. No rescue round.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Yes, thankfully.
Thankfully for this. And I was just going to add the first Ks for each section, 306 in the first heat, 305 in the second heat. That is downright jogging for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just
you know, it's bad when the commentators are saying these guys are running slow.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
That says something, because that would have been a really tough race for me to even do.
I did like one really good John Anderson joke. He said that these guys are all running, like they're going to get a free T-shirt in a park 5K. You ever do a 5K? You just get a free T-shirt. That was a great joke.
Participation trophies.
Yes, loved it.
I love John Anderson. He cracks me up. Just jokes all day. He's just been consistent with them too. Hilarious. Let's talk about the men's 110 semis. This is the first time since 2000 that all three U.S. men have made the finals. I think this is going to be quite interesting, Tasha, because we have Grant Holloway, Freddie Crittenden, Daniel Roberts. Then you got three Jamaicans. It's literally going to be pretty much half the field. Hansel Parchment, Rashid Broadbell, Orlando Bennett. Grant had one of the most cleanest races I have ever seen. 12:98, takes down the Olympic defending champion Hansel Parchment. Freddie became the first guy from the repechage rounds to make it into one of the finals here at these Olympic Games. And then, of course, Daniel Roberts doing Daniel Roberts things, looked strong. Any other takeaways we could take away from this race besides it's going to be a fast final?
Is there any scenario where Grant doesn't win? I don't see it. I don't see Grant not winning this race. He is, without question, the best hurdler in the world, and I don't think anybody can touch him. So is there any thought on him in any other scenario?
I don't think so.
First of all, I'm going to say shout out to the 110 hurdles finally giving us Jamaica versus USA. But I agree with you 1,000%. This is Grant's race to lose. But the hurdles just always make me so nervous because that is the hidden opponent in the hurdles, right? You've got to clear those 10 barriers. And that's really the only thing that's standing in the way of Grant, like putting this away and finally getting that gold. So yeah, we haven't asked for picks yet. Grant is my clear favorite. Yeah, but the hurdles always make me nervous.
I guess the biggest question besides that is, are we going to see a USA sweep? I think that is the ultimate question for this race. Grant leading the way. Can we see Freddie and Daniel grab silver and bronze? Tasha.
I want to see it. I do. I think it was the sweetest thing to see the women do it in 2016. So seeing the men do it would be amazing. And I know in 2012 we were gold and silver, right? Aries and Jason Richardson. Hansel Parchment makes me nervous.
Yes.
He is a championship runner. We've seen him make adjustments in the warm-up area and come out and win. So if there is a threat to it, to the sweep that is, I'm never going to sleep on Hansel.
And I would agree too. I worry about American sweep because Freddie told us he was going through an abductor issue early on, and that itself you still have to answer for.
Is he playing possum?
Is he playing possum? Do you think that was strategy? This man is thinking well beyond us. It's possible. It is possible. And if that is the case, kudos to you, Freddie Crittenden.
Well played.
Well played. Well played. It's like, oh gosh, what's the movie? The movie where the guy plays like he has like a limp leg and he can't walk really well. And then at the end of the movie, he just
Forrest Gump.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Oh no, there's a movie where a guy is like, it's impossible for him to have planned this whole thing at the very end of the movie. He walks away scot-free, and he was playing everybody all along. If I figure it out, I'll let you know. But if that might be the case here with Crittenden. But Roberts, to me as well, I think he improved over a semifinal, but I did have questions maybe about his first 2 rounds. I agree Parchment probably will be in the mix here for a podium finish.
Okay. I want to say yes to the sweep, but I agree with Tasha and I agree with you, Corey, that Hansel Parchment's going to be the one that's going to break that up if there's anyone that's going to do that. But I'm crossing my fingers that we can get it done.
The Usual Suspects is the movie.
Yeah. Oh, Usual Suspects.
Yes. You have not seen it. Don't even lie.
Corey knows I don't watch much TV. So, wait, have you seen that movie? What's it called?
The Usual Suspects.
Have you seen that, Tasha?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I don't really do movies too much.
I'll add that to my to-do watch list that I have yet to attack. Anywho, speaking of hurdles, the 400-meter hurdle semis also went off. Carson Warholm doing his thing. Rai Benjamin cruising a 47.85. Just those two. And Alison Dos Santos getting in by the skin of the
skin on his chinny chin.
Goodness, but all 3 of them are in. That's all that matters.
Was that a mental error that he did not realize in his heat that the top 2 get in, and he kind of coasted over the final maybe 10? I don't know. Like, what did you see there? When he finished his heat just behind the Frenchman, but he didn't really run all out to make sure he got those first 2 spots. Was that a mental error?
Something that's hard to tell with some of the elites is even when you are not in the best of shape, you can still make things look kind of easy. So honestly speaking, I don't know. I looked at that and I'm like, same question. Did he misjudge that? Or is that where he is fitness-wise right now? Because coming into the championships, you couldn't tell me that the race wasn't going to be those 3. Those 3, Benjamin, Warholm, Dos Santos, and then everyone else. But that semi threw me for a loop. And I honestly I don't know. Is it a mental miscalculation or is that where he is right now?
I want to tell myself it was a mental miscalculation, but I also feel like when you're at the Olympic Games, you better know what it takes to get into that final. Like, that is...
Because you're not only running to get into the finals, you're running for a lane position as well.
Yes, that too. I don't even know what lane he's going to be.
I think that's where errors happen because there are so many variables around you. You have the race itself, you have the barriers, you have the stadium, you have the start. Like, there's so many things to keep in mind. So it would be easy, I would feel, to make a small misjudgment in a race like this.
Yeah.
Who's your top 3?
You stressed to ask the question?
Yes, in order.
I will stick with what I said yesterday, even though it probably doesn't make sense now, but I did go with Dos Santos. Actually, I'm going to switch it up. I'll be mindful. I'm going to switch it up just because he did not really impress me that much. I'm going to go with Benjamin 1, Warholm 2, Dos Santos 3.
Rai, Warholm. Putting the Frenchman in there.
Okay.
He's going to get that oh, man. The electricity in that stadium for this race. He'll be 3rd.
For him to get that medal?
Yes.
Yeah. I am with Rai. I just feel like the disappointment that Rai had to live with of breaking the world record in Tokyo and not being the world record holder because he's the silver medalist. And I just feel like watching him all this season, beating Warholm at the very last meet last season, the last Diamond League. I think Rai has it figured out. He's poised. He's ready to get that gold. I'm sold on Rai bringing home the gold. Warholm, Dos Santos.
You have Dos Santos. in that
I
third
do.
spot.
Again, I don't know. I don't know where he was as far as like, again, was it a mental miscalculation he's been here. He's done it. He is a gamer. So little Q, he's in there. You just got to get to the final. So I'm gonna stick with Dos Santos.
Okay. Love the picks. Let's move on to the men's 800. And I think the biggest storyline and the biggest question we had was, how was Hobbs Kessler going to do in this round? But he answered every single part of that. And it was like, we're good. No repechade round for Hobbs Kessler here. So we're all set. Kudos.
Congratulations.
No way.
That was a very, very hard doubling back of a championship race and then a very fast 800. He ended up running 146, so he managed it quite well. He got through it. That's the hardest part. And now he has a day off to prepare for the semifinal. He'll be 100% refocused. He's got podium dreams. We got Bryce Hoppel in the mix. Brandon Miller's the only guy that now has to go to the repechage rounds.
Yes. And just to put this in perspective of how crazy, what the craziest thing that Hobbs Kessler did besides, finishing fifth in that amazing 1,500 meters that everyone keeps rewatching, he became the first American since 1976 to double in the 800 and 1,500. But the fact that it was 13 hours later, like 1,500 gets off the track, 13 hours later, he's on the starting line, running this 800, gets in the top three to advance, and he gets the job done. So he answered all of our questions. I love that he gets a break now. I feel like that's just probably the hardest part, is just that bounce back, but got it done, which was impressive. Got it done.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the men's 200. No surprises here. Kenny B, Noah Lyles, Aaron Knighton punched their tickets. There's been a lot of talk based off what I'm seeing from our chat here about Tebogo, and of course we're talking about it in the office too. Tebogo edges out Noah Lyles. Tasha, do you think, obviously Noah was definitely like chilling, but like, do you think there was anything more to it than that?
Let me say something.
Go ahead, Tasha. You have the floor.
I looked at Noah through those 100 rounds and I was like, Noah's not getting on the podium. I am now a firm believer that Noah can do no wrong. It was just a semi. It was just a semi. He will be quite all right for the final. He has made it clear that the 200 is his wife. He is not going to disappoint his wife. So let's not panic, people.
Let's not panic. Okay. Tebogo looked good too.
He did. I will offer one.
He did.
I will offer one piece of information that's interesting to me. In that 100, I think somebody was passing around a stat sheet of the maximum velocity from the 100, and Let's Seal actually had the fastest recorded speed from the 100. Noah was like right there, but Let's Seal was also there. He was above Noah, fastest recorded speed in the 100. So that's not nothing, I think, for the 200.
Okay. Picks. We got.
Well,
and we also have Famboulet in here, which
yeah.
I love Joe Famboulet. Love Joe Famboulet.
So impressed by him.
Yes.
We were talking about this in the office, and I don't know if anybody has any other takes on this, but I'm a little worried about Aaron Knighton. I don't quite know if he's ready to get back to the podium or not, based on what I saw. I think he's done it before, so it's that idea of I understand what it takes, but there's just something that doesn't feel like it's clicking with him. So I'm worried a little bit by Knighton.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Dos Santos piece. I kind of feel similar. Like, I just don't know. I agree, to say the least. I agree. I don't know if the fitness is there, because Tebogo looked incredible. Famboulet doing Famboulet things. Kenny B, like Kung Fu Kenny, I'm not counting him out at all. Like, there's a lot of great names coming from this list. So I don't know. I want Arian Knighton because I've been rooting for him ever since we saw him at high school at the AAU Junior Olympic Games in, what was that, 2020? Like, been a fan of his since then. So I want to see him succeed. I just don't know if he's there yet. I don't know if he's there yet. Tasha, what are your thoughts?
I've got similar questions about Knighton. I think he didn't have a full season, the type of season that he's used to having, which, not for nothing, counts for something when, especially an athlete as young as Knighton. So I've got some question marks there myself. I think, are we talking about picks or?
Sure, let's hear your picks.
Because I think Noah's going to get the job done. I think Tobogo, obviously, he looks good too. Kung Fu Panda. So, I mean, Bafambule. Jesus. I'm going to go Noah. I'm gonna take a gamble on this one. I'm going to go Noah, Kung Fu Panda, to Tobogo.
That's my pick.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was thinking in my head.
And I'm just switching to Bogo as the runner-up in that simulation here. Noah, Tobogo, Bednarik.
Okay. So we all have the same people.
But different orders.
Same three, different order.
Okay. What do you think it's going to take to win this? How fast do we see this going?
Natasha, let's go to you first on this.
I don't know. I feel like I haven't been right with the men's. At least a 19.6.
That's what I was thinking.
That
was in my head.
Yeah.
That would make sense. I actually
maybe 5.
19.5.
Maybe.
I'm going 19.6. Smooth 19.6. I just want to be excited for this.
Same.
I am excited, but
well, Noah went 19.53 at the trials.
Yeah.
And he didn't look as good in the semifinal here, but that was on purpose. I will put him at 19.58. I'll put him at 19.5 as well.
Okay.
Okay.
We're all in the same ballpark. Love that. All right, we're going to briefly go over the qualifications round. Tasha, I know you watched the women's 100-meter hurdles. Honestly, no surprises here. Jasmine Camacho Quinn does the thing. Toby Amasan does her thing. Masai Russell. All the Americans are in. Tasha,
Right through. Yep.
What impressed you the most about the hurdles from the women today?
Honestly, for me, the first round is just like, just get through. Don't do anything extra.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was just the job that needed to be done. Nobody's going to a rescue round, Team USA, that is. So I can't say that there was anything that I was shocked by. I feel like the names that we expected, Jasmine Camacho Quinn, Amusan seems to be kind of rearing back into, I don't want to say back into form, but she was a little bit closer to the field. Our girls look strong. They look like, they want to get through the semi and into the finals. They're coming off of that fast. Still can't believe the times that did not make this team. But anyway, yeah. But I think everyone kind of did what they were supposed to do as far as advancing. But let's see the semis.
Okay. Corey, any thoughts on the hurdles?
My only thought is Grace Stark does need to clean up her race.
Yeah.
She had a slight issue. I think it was second or third hurdle where she stutter stepped and went back to 12.7. So she was one of my picks on potentially winning a gold medal here. So as long as she shores it up, I think she's good. But yeah, I agree on the American women got through.
Yes.
First round cobwebs.
Perfect. Men's high jump. I think the biggest news was just our American Javon Harrison, who's number 3 in the world, did not make it in advance into the finals. He had a few misses early in the competition. Vernon Turner also did not qualify, but we have Shelby McEwen, number 4 in the world. Of course, we have the defending champion and the world leader right now, and Hamesh Kerr, number 2 in the world, have advanced to finals. So that's just the biggest news there.
Yeah, Barsheim too was one to watch. He had, I think, calf issues. Toward the end of his series, he managed to compete through them, and he actually cleared a bar at 227 to make sure he qualified. But there was a little bit of a calf issue with him, and that we definitely have to watch out for that in the final.
Yeah. Tasha, any thoughts on men's high jump?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, men's triple, and then we'll go into women's jab. Men's triple, defending Olympic champ makes it. Jordan Diaz-Ferdinand makes it. Salif Main from USA makes it. Olympic silver medalists and bronze medals are in. Donald Scott just misses the top 12, finishes 14th. And our fellow American Russell Robinson, 22nd. So at least we have representation for Team USA in that final. And then women's javelin, the only American, Maggie Malone Harden, who is my fellow Aggie teammate, finished 24th overall. Maria Adurizic, Tokyo silver medalist, got a season's best to qualify. World leader is in there. Mackenzie Little, number 2 in the world, is in there. And Sarah Kolak also has made it. So again, we still have some great competition coming up. Any thoughts on women's jab?
Women's jab.
Tasha,
Women's jab.
Before I let you go, Tasha, can you just share your favorite Olympic memory? You've been a part of amazing teams. I don't even know how many medals you have in your home, but you've been a huge contribution to Team USA. And of course, I call you the 400-meter diva. I say that all the time, but that's also what people call you too. So what would you say is your favorite Olympic memory before we let you go?
This is going to be cheesy, but it's really having it with my family. Both experiences, my mom, my grandparents, my uncle, godparents, 2016, my cousin surprised me. For me, I lived my dream. I was 10 years old when I was like, oh, I think I want to be an Olympian one day, right? But what good is a thing if you don't have loved ones to share those experiences with? And being able to stand on the podium and look at my family directly in front of me and hear the national anthem and have that moment with them, that is probably my favorite.
I love that.
Same.
That is so awesome. I love that, Tasha. Tasha, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join Corey and I here in studio and virtually for breaking down. You've had a wild day. Like, this was a wild day. I texted her before. I said, this is going to be a great podcast because so much happened. But we just want to say thank you so much for joining us. And we're just wishing you all the best as you continue doing amazing things. And Corey and I will be back here again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, with another special guest. Aries Merritt is joining us tomorrow.
Yeah.
Current world record holder. That might change come tomorrow, depending on how fast that 110-meter hurdle race goes off. But we are super excited. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Hopefully we won't be on no contacts.